welcome to Turn the Page podcast with Alyssa and Leah. This is a podcast where we share our love for children's literature and how to create a love for reading in children and page turners. Yeah. Today we're going to be talking about our back to school favorites because where we are right now, it is almost time for back to school.
Crazy.
I know. So it's back to school season. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good about going back to school. I am finally getting a classroom, so I've been doing a lot of decorating. My oldest child is going into kindergarten this year, so it's a crazy time for me because I can't believe I have a kindergartner.
Yeah.
And I just know, it goes quick. One of a family of students we're super close to, I can remember her entering kindergarten. Now she's in fifth grade. So I'm
Yeah.
like, how did that happen?
Yeah, it goes by fast. I'm excited to get I'm always excited about the start of school. So yeah, I've just started in my classroom getting it ready to go, and that's always fun. So yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
another
excited
great year. I'm really excited for all the kids that are coming to our school and
hmm
to every school. And I hope everyone gets a great teacher that fosters that love of reading.
Yes. So let's talk about our favorite books to start off the school year.
All right, so I'm going to share the books that I am reading or have read already with my kids as a parent. And Leah's going to talk about some of the books that she's read in her classroom to her students. And obviously, both of these could go either way.
Right.
Could read
Yes.
any of these at home or in the classroom. Just tell them our
Yes.
teacher favorite. And some of these are at home favorite.
Yeah.
So go ahead and go first.
Okay. I'll go first. My first one is First Day Jitters.
Love this book.
And this book, I actually have the book in front of me and I'm going to show you, was my student teaching. This is one of my classes that I student taught in. They signed the cover of the book. And so if you don't know about this book, it's all about first day jitters, and they're scared to go back to school, not sure. It's a new school. What's going to happen? Are they going to like their class, or is their class going to like them? And in the end, you find out that who's really scared to go back to school is the teacher.
I can remember having jitters. So when I was a brand new teacher, which this was a perfect gift, I read this book my very first day as a teacher. And I can remember having all those jitters and then they closed the door and it was just me and my kids. I'm like, I am in charge of them. And it's such a weird feeling, but also so fantastic. And honestly, you get the chance to make such a difference.
Yeah, and I think the kids love this book too because they're identifying with it and they feel the same way. And then when in the end it's the teacher, they're like, "What? Our teachers are nervous. Like my teacher is nervous." And as a veteran teacher, I wouldn't say I get nervous anymore. I'm excited, but I definitely remember this feeling.
I cannot
First
sleep.
year.
The night before it's excitement for me.
Yeah.
Yes, it's excitement,
Yeah.
but it's like almost like a Disney World trip for me. Like the night before, I just fantasize about what could happen. And last year we had some best fiascos. Yeah, the worst did happen, but it was a fantastic year. Okay, so my first one is The Kissing Hand.
Love.
I love this book. So the premise of the book, it's about some raccoons and the baby raccoons going to school, and Chester doesn't want to go to school. And the mom's saying all the typical things about making new friends. And so they both kiss each other's hands as they go away, and he holds the kiss in his hand so that he can remember his mom at school. And I actually recently got this in the Scholastic books that were mailed to me. So Scholastic does a free thing in Louisiana, sure, in some other states too, where you can register and have books mailed to your school age child. And so this book really resonates with me, not for my oldest, but for my youngest, because she's a lover and she gets sad sometimes to go to school. So we will kiss our hands to remind us of this book. But I just think it's a really sweet reminder that even though you're at school all day, mom's thinking about you.
Yeah.
Or dad, whoever, thinking about you.
It's such a sweet book. Such a sweet book. Okay, so back to school for me in my classroom, the first week is all about being true to you, that's a theme, and growth mindset.
Okay.
So the Being True to You book that I always read every year is A Bad Case of the Stripes. And this is such an iconic book for me.
I've never read it.
Stop.
I'm gonna have to read it. No. What? I've seen it. I've never read it though.
What? Oh, you just blew the line. Okay.
I'll read it.
Okay. So Camilla Cream is so excited about going back to school. It's first day of school. She's so excited. She's trying to pick out her outfit. She doesn't know what to wear. And it's all about how she wants to fit in. So when she gets to school, she starts to try to fit in, and all of these things keep happening to her because she's just listening to everyone else and she's not being true to herself. So I read this book and we talk about how it's important to be true to you, but not only is it important to be true to you, it's also important to help your friends be true to themselves.
Yeah.
So when you see someone or you hear someone doing something and it might not be your favorite thing, not to cut them down, but to encourage them and support them in whatever they want to do as well. So we talk about we want to be like Camilla Cream, and we don't want to be like all the other people trying to make Camilla like them. So it's a great back to school building community in the classroom read. And you have to read this.
I will read it. I'll read it. I'm very interested. All right. The Itty Bitty Kitty Corn. I know what this is. This is not a typical back to school read.
Okay.
So the Itty Bitty Kitty Corn is about a kitty who wants to be a unicorn. And as you know, I have a 5-year-old that loves kitties and loves unicorns. And the reason I picked this book is at the beginning of the book, the kitty is like being like a unicorn. She wants to be like a unicorn, and like she is prancing and she's dancing and she's so proud of herself. And there's these two little haters, a parakeet and a gecko, in the book that are kind of like talking bad about her the whole time. And they're really not nice. And then later in the book, Kitty meets a unicorn that wants to be a kitty. They get to be kitty corns together. And it's kind of a good story, I think, about making friends. And about there's always going to be people that are going to say like bad things like the gecko and the parakeet, but then there's also going to be people that validate you and make you feel good about yourself. And so that's why I think it's a really good back to school book. My daughter picked this up at Scholastic Book Fair, and then when we read it at home, I was like, this is such a good message for a kid. And they really see each other because they both feel like a kitty corn on the inside. So even though she's not a unicorn, she is a kitty corn.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I think it's like similar to A Bad Case of the Stripes, though.
Absolutely. I mean, she's not being kitty. She's a kitty corn in her heart.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Okay. So the next one I have is Giraffes Can't Dance. And it's a similar theme. Have you read this one?
No. I've seen it.
So it's about a giraffe who loves to dance, and he goes to a party in the jungle, and everyone's dancing and they have cool dance moves. But when he starts to dance, everyone makes fun of him. So, and he gets sad and he decides he's not a dancer and he can't dance. And so then he goes off by himself, and he meets a cricket, I think that is. And he says, you listen to your own music and you dance your own dance. And then when the giraffe starts dancing, everyone sees him and sees, oh, maybe he is a good dancer. So this is on theme of being true to you. And also, like, again, it's not, I don't think it's enough to just say, be true to you. Also encourage others to be themselves as well.
I love that. Yeah. And great message for returning.
Yes. Building that community.
So my next book is The Name Jar, which this is a book I used to read in my classroom.
Okay.
But it is also a really good one for back to school. And the reason is because it is about a girl who has a Korean name and it is difficult to pronounce. So it's spelled UNHEI. So like
uni. No?
Very close.
Okay.
Yuhei.
Oh, Yuhei. Okay.
Yuhei. So like obviously I would look at that and say Unhei,
Okay.
but then it says in the book, like she says it's like Yuhei. And she describes it to the kids that she's meeting. And of course, she feels different immediately. And I feel like so many people feel different at school for so many different reasons that I've had tons of kids that like don't want to use their traditional names. And so I think as a parent of a child who has an American name, but though somewhat unique name, I think it's a really important message because she goes about having people turn in names in a name jar for her to change her name to something better and easier and more American for the class. And then eventually, obviously, she embraces her roots. She has a special name stamp that came from Korea from her grandmother. And one of the kids, this is making me cry, one of the kids put her real name, Yuhei, in the jar.
I love it.
And so I just think it's a really good acceptance book. And it is, when your kids go off to school, they're going to meet so many different types of kids, so many different types of families. And I think it's really great to teach your kid to honor that. And as a teacher, I've had to tell so many kids with traditional names, tell me again, tell me 100 times.
Yeah.
Tell me when I say it wrong.
We go through this a lot with our students trying to pronounce names from a language that we don't speak. So it's not easy. And I think it does get frustrating to the kids. And I try to, us teachers, of course, we're coming from a place of we want to honor your name and we want to say it correctly, but they are so used to
people just saying it wrong and
saying something else. And it's we go through this a lot. So I love that. I would love to bring that into my classroom.
This is a great book for your kids. I feel like it just resonates with me so much. Like I read the graduation names at our school and the number of kids that are like, it's okay. It's okay, Judy. You just say it however you want. And I'm like, no, let's teach me right.
Yeah.
Because I think like there's value in your name and your parents named you that for a reason. And I think it's great for validating your child's name or teaching them to value the names of others.
Yeah, I love that. Okay, so I'm going to go with my last one that is be true to you. I like myself. So of course, it's very self-explanatory, going through all the reasons why, even though you might be different or you might like different things, why you are special because you are you.
Absolutely.
And so, I can't say enough of this again. Be true. I want my students to be who they are, and that's why the whole first week, this is the entire first week of school, is,
being true to yourself.
Be true to you. Yeah. Yep.
Absolutely. Who wrote that? Oh, okay. The illustration just looks similar to me, to other books.
It does.
Okay.
It does.
The Girl Who Never Made Any Mistakes. So I do a big growth mindset unit at the beginning as well. And this book's about Beatrice Bottomwell, and she has never made any mistakes before. And then it's also like about Carl, and Carl loves to make mistakes. And so Beatrice obviously has a situation at school where she's in front of everyone at a talent show and she makes her first mistake. And we teach gifted kids, so we have a lot of perfectionists. But my child is not gifted, and she is a perfectionist. She dies to make a mistake. And so I feel like the way she handles her mistake is amazing, because you would think she's never made mistakes, she's upset. But instead, she just starts laughing. Like, it's like that release of it's okay and it's good to make mistakes. And I feel like no matter how many times you tell kids it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to make mistakes.
Yeah.
That's not natural to some students. And so I feel like modeling it through literature, and then also like them seeing me make mistakes and handle them with grace. I think that's just really important. And I love this book. I think it's a great message.
Yeah, I like that too. Can we like just switch?
Absolutely. Yeah, we have the new reads to you.
Yes. So my next book, The Dot, is part of my growth mindset. So growth mindset is all about how we want children to use their brains and make mistakes and learn from their mistakes and never say, I know everything and I know all about this. We can always learn something, growing our brains. And so The Dots, have you read this?
Yes, and Peter Reynolds is one of my favorite authors, and this is his book.
Okay. Did you mention him in the last episode?
Our first episode when we talked about our favorite author, he's the one that wrote Be You, The Word Call, and he also wrote this.
See, I'm learning, and I'm gonna know by the end of this podcast. I'm gonna know.
Yeah, you lost Peter Reynolds. Yeah, he's a big one.
I know. So, yeah. So, all about growth mindset and doing your best, and maybe it's not perfect the first time, but we're gonna try again, and we're going to celebrate each other's successes.
Absolutely. And your best may never be perfect.
No.
So I think that's such an important thing to teach kids. I totally agree. I feel like this is really popular in the world of education.
Yeah.
But it's also a great one to read at home. Want a lot of cute projects to go with it.
And they do also, he has it's not a series, I would call it, but similar topics.
Yes. Yeah.
Similar to The Dot.
Yeah, he has, and you can even buy a reasonable set.
Yeah, I have the set. I just can't. This is the one. This is my go-to one, but I can't remember the other ones. But maybe we'll post that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, this is a new book to me. I bought this for my child, who is going into kindergarten, and it's called Lena's Shoes Are Nervous: A First Day of School Dilemma.
Ooh.
And the reason I like this is because, so my child has some anxiety, as I do too. And sometimes she's unable to identify that that's what she's feeling. And so she had this problem a few years ago where every day her socks had a problem and they're crooked and we couldn't get the socks right. And really, I think it was, she was feeling anxiety. So I bought this book. And the first time I read it, I don't remember what she was doing, but I was like, come here, I want to read you this book. And she's like, I don't like to read. I don't want to read that right now. And, of course, broke my heart. That I was like, okay, then I'll just read it to Olivia, her sister. And we started to read, and immediately I could tell she was listening across the room. And then at one point I stopped because I forget, someone came to the door, just something happened. And she was like, Mom, finish the book. And so I knew that all resonated with her. But it's all about her shoes are nervous to go to school. And so she's unable to leave. And so her dress is very outgoing. So it personifies her clothing, and it can move around. And so the dad suggests well, what if your dress talks to your shoes and reassures your shoes? And she said, well, no, because they don't really get along. And then it ends up, I think the headband is the one who talks to the shoes because the headband's friends with anybody.
Aww.
And my child is a headband wearer. So that also kind of is a connection for me. But I just loved it because I think that anxiety for back to school is so normal. And for young kids, just teaching them, how to handle and work through those problems, because it's normal to be nervous.
Yeah, I think we have a similar theme of reassuring children when they get into school. It's a new setting. They've been doing one thing for 2 months, very similar, same thing probably every day. And it's a new routine. And so I think all of these books really concentrate on it's okay. Yeah, everything's gonna be okay.
And it's gonna be fine. It's okay to be nervous, but also go there and be you and show who you are. And so back to school is one of my favorite times. I love as a teacher that you can start fresh every year. And I believe that for kids too, because no matter how last year in school, you get kind of a fresh chance and a new class and a new teacher and some new friends.
Yeah, even though a child is going to the same school and might have friends there, it's a new teacher, it's a new classroom, there's probably going to be new students. So there are new things that they have to, deal with. So I'm excited. I always am excited too. And I'm excited to see my old students too that I'm going to miss, and I love them. So, so what's making you turn the page, Alyssa?
Right now, I would say it is my oldest child. We are doing a lot of read alouds right now where cuddling up and getting ready to read. She's very interested in letters and, what sound does that letter make? The other day I spelled my name on the phone and she was like, "That's not how you spell your name. It's MOM." And I was like, "Oh, God, like, I just love it." So I feel like that's kind of what's helping me turn the page right now as I'm loving reading with her.
Oh, that's so fun. So I have started, we are going to do some book reviews and some episodes coming up. And so I have started those books, one book already. And that's what's making me turn the page right now. This podcast, reading new books. I'm excited to do those book reviews.
Thank you for listening to Turn the Page podcast with Alyssa and Leah. Please take a minute to follow us and leave us a review. We would love to hear from you.
Speaking of hearing from you, we would love for you to follow us on social media. You can find us on Instagram at turnthepage_podcast or Turn the Page Podcast on Facebook.
Bye, y'all.